Hello, everyone. All right, Dave.
Hello, I'm fine. Thank you, Keith.
So welcome to this Ask the Experts session. I am Keith and this is
Dave.
And we're here today to basically answer any questions you may have. And also hello to everybody on the Bucket Lister podcast, because this is also going to go out as our podcast this week. So this is the first time we've tried doing this, so we'll see how it goes. But my name's Keith. I head up the Bucket List Company, and this is one of our oldest guides in more ways than one. This is Dave. And like I say, we're here today to answer any of the questions that you may have regarding any of the trips that we do. And also, we're going to be looking at Black Friday as well, because Black Friday is about to become upon us. And obviously, we'd like to have a few deals on Black Friday as well. So if you have got a bucket list trip in mind, then now is a great time to be thinking about booking it. You'll save some money over this weekend, and we'll discuss how you can do that a little bit later on. But Dave, you've just got back from the Sahara Desert trip. How was that?
It was great as ever. And as usual, every time we go, it is slightly different. And this time there'd been in the desert, there'd been a flash flood. So we managed to find a pool of water, not an oasis really, but a pool of water that people could dive into and swim in the middle of the desert. How about that, eh?
So, I mean, 9-day trip as standard, normal trek. There was some amazing photos came off it. And I saw the video of the sandstorm.
Oh yes, we had a brief sandstorm which managed to nearly blow away a tent, but Hassan, our local guide, was able to catch that, which was very good. And apart from a little bit of sand in one person's sleeping bag, namely mine, everyone else was fine. But yeah.
So we've had lots of trips away recently, coming towards the end of our season now. We've October, November, since we last spoke, we kind of had, what have we had? We've had a Great Wall of China trip with Hugo. We've had a Mira Peak with 100% success on that one, which is super good news. And then we had our Best of Nepal trip go out as well, which to me, I just love that trip. I think, we both love Nepal. We love trekking in Nepal, but there are plenty of people out there that want to go to Nepal and don't want to go trekking. And that is just the perfect trip. If you want to go and discover Nepal and learn about Nepal and learn about the culture and see the most amazing things in Nepal, then that is definitely the trip for you. And the photos that came back from that one, they again had the most amazing local guide on that one. And there'll be more photos to share from that trip in the coming weeks. If you are watching, please do give us a hello. It would be really interesting to know who is watching us this evening. We've got a full house here because Tom from the office is actually in the room with us as well, managing all this. So you can't see Tom. He's sat behind us, ready to put links into the notes there. So if there's anything that we're discussing, then you can see that as well. Obviously, you won't be able to see that on the podcast, but we'll make sure we put any links that we discuss into the show notes on the podcast as well. So hello from Steve, hello from Yasmin. They're watching on Instagram. Caroline James is watching as well. Hi, Caroline. So lots of people watching on Instagram, people watching on Facebook as well. And we're going out on YouTube, and it's going to go out on the podcast as well. So what we'd like you to do is, if you are watching, and we got Tarek from London as well watching. Hi, Tarek. If you've got any questions that you want to ask, whether it's about a trip you're booked on, whether it's a trip that you're thinking of booking on, then put it in the comments. We'll save them all up. We'll ask them as we go. But if you've got any questions at all, please add them into the comments, because the whole point of this is to do a bit of a Q&A and answer all of your questions. So we've got a question there from Elaine's just come in saying, is the first time you have done Cappadocia in Turkey? No, it's not the first time we've done Cappadocia in Turkey. I led that one. I've led a couple to Cappadocia now, actually, and I'm getting a bit of a reputation of doing the nice trips with nice hotels.
True.
I haven't been camping in a tent in the desert. For
No.
Yeah. But the Cappadocia trip I think is amazing. And you land in Istanbul, you spend a couple of days exploring Istanbul, and then you fly down to Cappadocia and explore Cappadocia. Now, there is quite a bit of walking on the trip in terms of you're spending a lot of time walking around a lot of the destinations in Cappadocia, but it's not designed as a trekking trip. It's designed as a let's go see it, explore it style trip. I mean, it's been on my bucket list for so long. And I've been three times now.
It's still in your bucket list.
It's still on my bucket list. Like you with deserts, it's become me with hot air balloons.
Yeah,
I think I might, I'm hoping for a Christmas present. I get my hot air balloon lessons or something like. But it is just such an amazing trip. And going up in the hot air balloon amongst like 300 other balloons is just is amazing. And I mean, I really love just being there at the bottom in the town. I mean, like one of the days, we get up super early in the morning and we go on a roof terrace and then just watch all the balloons take off around you. And these baskets are just going over your head. And it's just amazing. The food is to die for out there. And you're in a hotel every night as well, which is lovely.
From a sandy tent.
Excellent. So Steve's asked a question: are you planning any more destinations in Africa or Asia? Yes, Steve, there are some new destinations coming. We obviously launched Bhutan a couple of weeks ago, and we've got a date for the Bhutan trip online. We put an itinerary out that was super popular and actually sold out in 22 minutes. So we've now got another date, and we've planned it for 2027 for the start of that trip. So it's quite a way away, but we appreciate that Bhutan is an expensive place to go. And we wanted to give people the opportunity to do it, but we've also created a second date for that one. So I bagged the first one, and then Dave then went and bagged the second date. So there's still a few spaces on Dave's trip. There's none left on mine. Mine's fully booked. But if you want to go with the real expert before he retires,
come on.
Then but we're looking at another trip to Botswana that we're currently looking at launching. Where are you thinking of, Steve? Where is on your list to go? Because it would be interesting to know where you're thinking about. So Elaine, you've booked for Morocco next year. Amazing. Looking forward to that one. Which Morocco trip is it you've booked, Elaine? It'd be really interesting to know which one you've got as your first trip, because Yasmin's put in on Instagram saying, what trip would you recommend for a first timer who loves the mountains? Go on, Dave, take it away.
Well, if you love the mountains, then you're going to love Mount Toubkal, which is the highest mountain in the Atlas Mountains. Fantastic ascent. And when you get to the top, on the one hand, you see the plain with Marrakesh in it. On the other side, you see the beginnings of the Sahara Desert. So it's a magnificent mountain to climb. And I would highly recommend it. 4,100 odd meters. So you really get to altitude, but it's very achievable. Very achievable. As long as you're fit, you can do it.
Yeah, and I think, anyone watching this, like thinking, oh, is group travel for me? Like, actually, it's a great
bonding.
It's a great trip. It's a great introduction to mountaineering.
Yeah.
And it's also a great introduction to group travel.
Yeah.
And we probably sell more trips to Tootcow. It's probably one of our most popular trips in total. And a lot of people, it's their first bucket list trip.
Yes.
And then
so many
start with that one, don't they?
Have gone on to Nepal with us, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah.
And just around the world doing challenging things. It's a wonderful trip to start with, a mountain trip. And you remember, you're going to be 4 times the height of Snowdon. That puts it in perspective for you.
Yeah, exactly that.
Very exciting.
And then so that's that question. Will you be looking into a trip to Kyrgyzstan? Well, funnily enough, we've already done the recce of Kyrgyzstan and been to the stands. And Tom, who is sat in front of us now, went on that trip to do the recce.
Yeah.
And we are, yes, we're looking at Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan because Tom did both. So yes, to answer to that question, we are looking at doing one to the stands. It was really interesting because we only had a conversation, Tom and I, yesterday, saying like we need to put a poll out on our socials and see like how many people have that on their bucket lists to go.
Yeah.
But just there's a couple of people who have already commented there saying that they're super interested in the stands. So that's amazing. Elaine's put that she's off to do the best of Morocco. Is she staying safe? I think Elaine's a bit like me and likes a nice hotel.
Yes, going on a Keith trip.
But also she's put there that her husband wants to do the Inca Trail. And interestingly, I had a meeting 2 weeks ago, and we've come up with a 5-star Inca Trail trek, where you even get like every night there's a massage tent in the campsite. You have a massage, and you get cocktails with your dinner, and I just think like it's not for everybody.
No.
But I think for some people, like some people might opt for that one.
Sounds like
and then Steve's also put that he's looking at Kenya and Uganda. Well, obviously we do a lot of work already in Tanzania, and we have our Uganda gorilla trekking trip already. And like I say, we are looking at a Botswana trip, going Botswana, finishing at Victoria Falls. So that's going to be, I think, I might
Victoria Falls, just amazing.
I might have to go and have a look at that one early on.
If you're poorly, ask me.
Okay, I will do. So when is the best time of the year to combine climbing Mount Kilimanjaro with a safari? January or February or August or September? Personally, for me, I would say that September is such a lovely time to go and climb Kilimanjaro. Like if I jump on a Kilimanjaro trip, then generally it's a September date that I go on.
Yeah, I notice.
Yeah. It's the weather is so much better in September, I think. Like May, June, September, good times to go and climb Kilimanjaro. Obviously, August is okay as well. And if you're there August, if you go beginning of August, then you could do Serengeti and do the migration as well. So that works really nicely if you wanted to get up to the north of the Serengeti and see the migration. So think about what you want to do on safari when you're there. I mean, the standard 3-day safari after you've climbed Kili is probably you won't get up to the Serengeti on that one. It's just too far. You would just spend all your time driving to then come back again. And you just wouldn't get there in time. So you probably need, if you want to get up to the Serengeti, you want to see the migration, you're going to need 6-7 days on that trip to go up there, unless you want to fly up, which obviously will save quite a lot of time as well. But yeah, that's the plan for that one. So someone's just added, do the prices on the website exclude flights? Yes, prices on the website do exclude flights. We run 2 styles of trips. We run our bucket list of trips and we run our bucket list of plus trips. When we first started the bucket list company, we only ever ran our UK guided trips. So all of our trips were escorted by one of our UK guides, whether it be me, whether it be Dave, whether it be one of the others. And what happened with that was, we were one of the only companies really, well, one the only company actually, who were offering that kind of UK guided, we'll sort everything out for you. We'll meet you at the airport. We'll all travel out as a group together. And what we were finding was that people were, they were going on and looking at our Everest base camp or our Kilimanjaro and comparing it with our competitors. And also as well, people were saying, I want to do Kilimanjaro with you guys, but like, I can't do the date that you've got, because obviously we can't be running them all the time because there's only so many of us guides, which is why we then brought in our stripped back sort of bucket lister option, where you sort your own flights out and you meet our amazing local teams in country. And so, you sort your flights out, you get to the first night's hotel, and then you meet the local team and then work from there. Whereas our Bucket Lister Plus, you can add the flights on. They're not included in the price. They're an add-on. But then we all travel out as a group and you'll meet your UK guide at the airport, and they'll escort you all the way through. So a lot of our clients still love the Bucket Lister Plus option.
Yes.
They still book that one. They don't want to do a trip unless it's a Bucket Lister Plus. But obviously a lot of new customers that are coming in that have never experienced a trip with me or you, Dave, are quite happy doing the bucket listers. So that's kind of the two different options on the trips. I just want to quickly say that we've got our Black Friday deal obviously coming out on Friday. But what we always do is we have our VIP list. And the people on the VIP list get the offer early on tomorrow. Thursday at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Now, we've only got 100 offers available. So if you are thinking of booking a trip, then you might want to get onto the VIP list to make sure you get the offer available tomorrow rather than waiting for Friday. So, that's and Tom is literally just about to put a link in the notes across all the platforms. And if you want to get on the VIP list and get that email tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning, rather than wait until Friday, you can do that then. So in October, is October a good month to see the migration? Sorry, just arrived. Not sure if you've already been explained. Well, we have just explained this.
Yeah.
But we'll do it again. So in terms of the migration, like July, August is a great time to go and see the migration. October would be too late. So you want to come back a little bit earlier than that. So kind of July, August. But again, the migration goes all the way up through, so it depends where you want to see it as part of the migration. But in Tanzania, in the Serengeti, you kind of want to be there July, August for the migration from there. I think we answered all of that. Yeah, we're keeping up with the questions at the minute, which is great. Good. So Dave's just put Tom's just put the link in there for the VIP priority list if you wanted that to see that offer. So go and grab a look at that. When you book your own flights, do you arrange your own transport to the hotels? You can add that on, Elaine, and you can add your transfers, and one of our local team will come to the airport and collect you and then take you back to the hotel. So quite a lot of people do like that option, because it just means like you're not getting ripped off in a taxi. No, you're making sure you go to the right place. And you go to the right place. It used to be with one of the riads we used in Marrakesh. There was two of them with exactly the same name, and the number of times you'd get a WhatsApp from someone saying, "We've arrived at the riad," and we're like, "Well, I'm at the reception. Where are you?" Waiting for you. They had been taken to the wrong one. So a lot of people kind of quite like that. And literally, our local team will be there waiting for you with a bucket list sign, so it can all go from there. So yeah, that's as simple as that. Anyone else got any questions? Please do put them in the comments. We are going whistling through everything. So sorry, just to be clear, the difference between the bucket lister and bucket lister plus is the booking of the flights and the transfer. Yeah, it is, Yasmin, and the UK guide. So one of us from the UK will travel with you and be with you for the whole trip. Whereas that's on a bucket lister plus. If you're on a bucket lister trip, then you just meet our local team. There isn't one of us with you on the trip. Now, where that comes in super handy is obviously if you're nervous traveling through airport, like getting visas, sorting those issues out. But also as well, just kind of, you know, the local guides aren't staying in the hotels with you.
No.
You know, they'll be coming in, meeting you in the morning. They'll giving you a briefing, telling you what to do for the next day. And it's just simple things like, where do I change my money? Like, where's a good restaurant to go and eat tonight? Like, I need a pharmacy. Where's the nearest pharmacy? Like, just all those little things. Like, for some people, you know, they can deal with that themselves and not worry about it, and they want to go out and explore and investigate, and that's not a problem. But for other people, they kind of want to, you know, have not their hand held a little bit, but it's just having that sort of reassurance.
Have it made easy.
And, you know, I think we get so many customers that, I mean, I had a conversation with somebody the other day. They've done 2-3 trips with us now. And they were like, they phoned me up and they were asking about the Inca Trail. They want to go and do the Inca Trail. And they were like, well, I think I can do it cheaper by booking it myself.
Sure.
And I was like, yeah, of course you can.
Yeah, go
on. Like that's like, there's no problems with that. Like that's, but
what do you get?
But what do you get out of that? And, you know, you've got to deal with all the hassles then, and you've got to deal with, you know, if something goes wrong in whatever. And I think in terms of, you know, like Everest Base Camp, for example, like the other day when like there was no flights flying for 5 days and 69 flights from Ramchat took off and landed in Lukla. Now, if you had pre-booked your accommodation, like you could have been 3-4 days behind where you should have been. And now you've got to try and find accommodation again for the night. And my maths isn't that quick to work out 69 times 16, but you might be a bit quicker than me. But it's a lot of people who are all walking up the trail at the same time.
And wanting an accommodation.
So like having someone with you, like, and organizing it, I think is, you know, for a lot of people is what they want to do. I'm not saying that's the only way to travel. There are, you know, there's a lot of good things about independent travel, and I love independent travel on my own. I love it going exploring new places. But
that's how we started, didn't it?
Yeah.
When you talked about Kyrgyzstan just now, I went out there on my own. And met somebody out there and went ice climbing. That's what I did. And you've done the same sort of adventures, and now we're trying to get other people to, you know, to bring them along as a group and show them what the world is like, really.
But I think, you know, for a lot of people, like it's difficult, isn't it? You've got 2 weeks off, and you want to fit in as much as you can in those 2 weeks. And, you know, a lot of the time, like I remember like our Chile and Easter Island trip. It's the Chile and Easter Island trip is one of the most amazing trips, and you get to do so much on that trip. And the only reason why you can cram so much into the itinerary is because it's a group trip. If you had to go and pay for everything singly that we do on that trip, it would cost you way more money than what the group trip is, because like the transport to get from A to B and from B to C, like would cost you a fortune if there was just 2 of you. But when you're spreading that cost amongst 16 people, it makes it completely more viable. Like the guides, like it's just so much easier to have to do that.
The economies of scale come into play. It's not all about it being cheaper, it's just actually things work.
So is it correct that for the gorilla trek in Uganda there is not a bucket lister plus option? No, there's not a bucket lister plus option for that one at the minute, and the reason why we haven't put a bucket lister plus option in for the 2026 is because our guides out there are so good, and like they don't, and you're with the guides the whole time for that trip, so they really do look after you well. Like they literally will pick you up from the airport, they will drop you back to the airport, and you have a real inclusive trip with the same people all the time. So they're kind of, we felt that there wasn't necessarily a need to have a guide on it. And the other issue as well is that's a really expensive trip to have
already.
And then by the time we put a guide on it and have to cover all the costs for the guide, it just pushes the trip up a bit more and a bit more. So yeah, we just felt that actually you're super well looked after on that one, and there is no need for it to be a bucket lister plus trip. You'll get looked after well as a bucket lister trip. What's the best way to get fit for your hikes like K2? Well, interestingly, my podcast last week was all about getting fit for Kilimanjaro and trips like that.
Similar.
And so Tom will find a link to that podcast and go and listen to that one. And the reason why I did it in a podcast was because I got asked it on something like this. So that was great. But the best way to train for multi-day hikes is, and I'll just give you a quick summary of what I said, was there's no point going out and smashing out loads and loads of runs. The key thing for training for multi-day hiking is to actually train in training zone 2, training zone 3.
Endurance.
And you need to be doing endurance. So understanding training zones is super important. Getting a watch where it will track your heart rate so you can make sure you are staying within your training zones is super important. And yeah, that's it.
That's it. Zone 2, zone 3, no more. Just do that.
Yeah. Getting into, I mean, obviously the best way to train is to get in the mountains. The best way to train is to get in the mountains and go trekking. But if you can't go trekking in the mountains, then you need to be walking on an incline, and you need to be slowly walking with weight on your back for a considerable amount of time.
And be able to do that at least for a couple of days, one after the other, so your body understands that it's not just going to be a one-off blast.
Yeah. And walk and core and training your core as well, super important. You try and get to the gym, like doing compound lifting, like strengthening your back, strengthening your core, strengthening your legs. And the other one is practice walking downhill, because that's something that a lot of people miss out on. And most people struggle walking down Kilimanjaro or back down the Inca Trail where you've got the steps. That's where it's the knees and making sure that's
strong.
So someone's asked, how do you choose your tour leaders? What's the criteria?
Age.
In terms of obviously we've got our local teams everywhere we go. Our UK tour guides are generally they'll show their experience. Like quite a lot of them I already know from the industry. Hello, Candice. She says, "Go, Dave." Candice,
thank you, Candice.
We haven't just dragged him in, Candice. We run leader selection and we run leader training to choose our guides. And we had a leader training
just two weeks ago.
Yeah, we had
full first aid adventure training.
Yeah. So and we train our guides as well in level 5 travel and expedition first aid, and then we carried that during our leader training course. So I mean, for us, it's about keeping our guides for a long time, and we want them to be part of our team, and we want to train them as well to make sure that they're the best that they can possibly be. Steve said, just done the Great Wall of China trip. Hugo was invaluable. It was a great trip and highly recommend it. Also booked onto Dave's Bhutan trip.
Oh, good.
Do you speak fluent?
Oh, yeah. Beautifully.
Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah.
I got that.
And, and it's one reason why none of us get a look in. One of us get a look in terms of the Great Wall of China, because Hugo holds the world record for trekking the whole of the Great Wall of China, and he also speaks fluent Mandarin. So
that's how we choose our guides.
So there's no point sending one of us out there. People are going to have a much better experience with Hugo. So that's why Hugo does our Great Wall of China trip. Another question on Facebook is, do you know when the dates will get announced for 2027? Yes, we do know when the dates will get for 2027, and we've changed it this year because normally they get launched on Boxing Day, but we've pushed it back a little bit this year. 2027 dates are going to be released in March next year.
Oh, March.
Yeah, so people can wait for March for the 2027 dates. And there might be a few new trips in there as well. And there might be some other things coming. So that's why we've pushed it back. We've always launched them on Boxing Day. But this year we wanted to kind of try something new. So that's what we're doing.
Well, good.
Send me some tour guide training program. That'd be amazing. If you send an email in to the Bucket List Company, we will certainly get back to you with more information on the tour guides and tour leaders. That's no problem at all. How do you ensure get the minimum people to run your trip? Well, obviously we can never guarantee that the minimum people will book a trip. Like, it's not something that we have any control over, really. Like, we set the dates and hope that people want to go on them.
Yeah.
I mean, for a lot of trips, we can run on 2 people. And for our bucket listers anyway, for our bucket lister pluses, we generally need more than that. But, you know, we very, very rarely have to cancel a trip. Very rarely. I mean, you've done a trip with one person before. I've done some really small trips. Like, we try not to cancel trips because we completely understand that, like, how annoying that is if you've booked holiday off, etc. So if we are going to cancel a trip, then, you know, it's never done at short notice.
No,
there's always
key thing, I think.
Like, you always get, and there's always then options to transfer it to another date when we do have numbers. But yeah, I mean, obviously, unfortunately, we can't make people book as much as it would be nice to do that. Like, but yeah, we try and be able to run our trips on a very low number of people. So if we we should be able to run with most of them.
We do.
And I think, in that, and I would say, like, our bucket list of trips are generally, if I look at the plan for next year, our bucket list of trips are generally a lot in the lower numbers than our bucket lister plus trips. We have more dates for bucket lister than we do bucket lister plus. And obviously, with the UK guides going on them, we need to have numbers on. We need to have volume on those trips to actually be able to run them. So generally, that's what we do, isn't it?
Simple.
So the email address, someone's just had, the email address is just letsgo@thebucketlistcompany.co.uk, and Tom will put that in the notes now. So yeah, like Candice has just said, I think smaller groups are better. Equally, a big group is fun too.
Yes.
So have you not just contradicted yourself there, Candice? But no, you're right. I think depending on the style of trip, it's, if it's a long trip, like, sometimes I think having a big group and having lots of people around you helps.
Yeah. A challenging long trip, it certainly helps.
It certainly helps. Like, you can move around and have different people to talk to.
Yeah.
It might be that people get annoyed with me and want to not be near me for a couple of days. Like,
really?
Yeah, it happens. But yeah, I think, like, you're right though. Like, the personal attention you get is better in a smaller group.
Yes.
Obviously, if you've got 16 to look after, you can only give so much Dave time, can't you? You can't, whereas if there are less people in the group, you get more Dave time. So it's entirely up to that. But yeah, I think a lot of our bucket list trips, 4, 6, 8 sort of people in the group.
Yeah.
Our bucket list plus trips, I would say, average round about 12. But interestingly, you're doing a trip with Candice next year, and there's only 4 of you on that one. So,
no!
So please book that one, Dave. Dave needs more people on that one.
That'd be nice if that was a big group.
Yeah,
Candice.
So that's pretty much us coming to an end of the questions.
Right.
Yeah, Costa Rica, Candice. Dave is your Costa Rican guide. So if you've got any more questions, please do quickly put them in now, because we will be bringing this episode to an end in a minute. Hi, Mustafa.
Hi, Mustafa.
That's our main man in Morocco.
Yeah.
So he's watching us on Instagram as well. Paul's asked, what additional training would you suggest for Island Peak over and above what is needed for EBC? Strengthen the legs again is super important for that one. And now Kaylee's watching as well now.
Yeah.
Hi, Kaylee. How are you?
Hello.
One's in South Africa and one's in the UK. Are those two?
So I hear. It's stamina and mindset, really, isn't it? But you've got to go determined to do it. And if you're determined to do it and you've got the stamina, you will do it. If someone adds on a high peak like that because they just want to get to the altitude, sometimes that's not enough motivation. You really got to be determined. So that's about working on your stamina and visualizing success, really. That sounds a bit cliche, but that's what you've got to do, because when it gets tough, that's what will be in your head when you're walking very slowly, trudging up through the snow. But wonderful.
I think as well, though, like in terms of being familiar with your equipment.
Of course.
Like being able to put crampons on quickly, effectively, easily. Understanding like basic rope work. Although that gets taught to you briefly, like having an understanding before you go, I always think is super important. Just how to tie a prusik. How to
what your ice axe is for, what you're definitely for. Not just a walking stick, but
some of those skills you can get at your local indoor climbing wall, like understanding how to load a belay plate, how to put a harness on correctly. Just doing a basic intro to climbing course, although it's not climbing, but just having those basic how to tie a knot, how to put a harness on. Would give you that
with ease. And do that with ease and automatically. That's what you need.
Andy Mitchell is giving us a clap. You've done some trips with Andy, innit?
I have a few.
So hi Andy, how are you? Hope you are well. It's great to see so many of our.
It's lovely, isn't it? I'm just looking down through now to see.
And this is why we do what we do. I just spent the weekend up at Kendal at the Mountain Film Festival. And we had a stand up there for the weekend, and it was lovely to
but you met loads of people.
I did, and it was people that I actually hadn't met a lot of before, because I haven't led them on trips. And it was nice to catch up with people because we've put names to faces, but at the same time, like we've never gone that far north for a show before. Like Birmingham is like north for me in Devon. Like it's
it's a long way north.
It was.
Did you need your crampons?
I nearly had altitude sickness, I tell you, going all out there. But it was great to see new people, and it was even more special that one of our old guides, Tony Pearson, flew over to say hello as well. So
excellent.
He even helped me on the stand.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful, isn't it?
Hello, Andrea Shaw. She's just coming as well. Lovely to see you. Helen Howes has just joined us on Instagram as well. I did Kilimanjaro with you a couple of years ago. It's lovely to see people coming on there.
It's like getting the old band back together, isn't it?
It is, exactly that. And we got Tom here as well. Like, what more can we want? Okay, so I think people are just clapping at us now in like. There's no one asking any questions.
Nice.
So I think in terms of finishing this off, I think final thing from us then is just the reminder that it is Black Friday this weekend. There are going to be some deals on all of the trips. So if you are thinking about booking a trip, then this weekend is a good time to do it. There's going to be 100 offers available. So if you want to get onto the VIP list, which launches tomorrow morning at 8, then you need to sign up to get the email to give you access to those deals. And Tom will put it in one final time of how you can get on the VIP list. There we go. It's just popped up as we speak. So if you click on that link, just a quick one. Tom, is it, if we're on Instagram, if they go onto the bio, is it on there? Yeah, it is. So if you can't click the link in Instagram, if you go onto our bio, click the link in the bio. That will take you to join the VIP list as well. So I think that's it, Dave.
Right.
Tom, have we missed anything?
You're all good.
There we are.
Oh, good.
Well, I don't want to take up any more of Dave's time this evening. It's not bedtime. We only do these on a Wednesday.
Okay.
We only do these things on a Wednesday because Dave comes in to come climbing here on a Wednesday. And I don't want to lose any of your climbing time.
Thank you. Thank you, Keith. You're so considerate.
That's the one time you're allowed out in the week that your wife lets you out.
Matron lets me out.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you ever so much for joining us on this Ask the Experts live Q&A. It's been great having some great questions again. I think.
Fantastic.
And we will be back. Well, it's going to be like between Christmas and New Year. We're going to have to do another one of these, but we'll be back for another one in about a month's time. Thanks ever so much for watching today. It's been lovely to see so many of you here, so many of our customers. It's great to see. And like I say, we'll be back in a month's time. And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.